Hi, Walter. The session's not actually starting till 10:10, so Sydney might be another minute. She's probably just freshening up between her panel.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you doing? It seemed like there was a lot of interest and many questions directed to you, so I hope people filter in here.
Yeah, I mean, would love folks to, because I feel like this is the part that reminds me of the in-person tech showcase, right? Where like folks just walk up to you and ask questions. But I realize it's a little more intimidating when it's on video. You feel like,
I did have two people pop in, tell them it's not starting till 10:10 and then leave. So maybe they just went to the bathroom. Hopefully they'll come back.
no worries. If not, we can have a nice chat, you and I. Are you staying? Oh, wonderful. We have some.
There we go.
fun.
No, I can come off camera. You can handle
No,
it.
no, but are you going to join for this or do you have other things to
I will stay sort of on. But
Great, yeah, don't worry. I will let you know if I need you for.
I will be in the background if you need me.
Thank you, Leslie. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Pleasure to meet all of you. I know this is in normal times, right? You host these types of things and it's like you can pass by and see the car. So I realize that doing it virtually is a little bit, but anyways, appreciate you all joining. So, and feel free, if you can only stay for a few minutes, you just drop off whenever you want. I will not be offended. But stay for whatever part is of interest. So maybe, I don't know, folks, if you have particular questions that you want to, ask, and I'm happy to try my best to answer them.
Well, thank you, Sydney, for being out here and spending the time answering our questions.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Vishnu. I'm a rising senior at Los Altos High in Los Altos, and I'm big on I really like ML and computer vision and things like that, and I've slowly started dipping my toes into doing all of that stuff, all of that cool programming, TensorFlow stuff. And I just want to know, in comparison to a company like Tesla, where would you put Aurora in their, self-driving capabilities?
Yes, that's a good question. And I think we get that a fair bit. And I can't speak to Tesla's technology. I'm not familiar with it. But I think when we talk about self-driving, right, and if I'm repeating, if this, this, please interrupt me, but there's levels of autonomy, right? Levels 1 through 5. Good, you're not in your head. Levels 1 through 3 are those type of driver assist technologies where you do need someone ready to take over at the wheel. Whereas at Aurora, we're level 4. So there's no need for someone to be paying attention and ready to take over. So I think that's a big distinction between the two types of technologies. So, as you're doing your research and capabilities, I think you have to think about that piece. What type of technology is it, and where does it fall on that that spectrum 1 through 5?
And you said you were level 4, right? Is there a level 5 or something? Like I know that there's level 1, 2, and 3. It's just been a while since I've studied that. Where would you? So
Yeah. So level 5 is so it's interesting. So level 4, right? That's the type of technology where you don't need a driver, right? The Aurora driver does the driving. But within a certain domain, we call it an ODD, operational domain design. And that means that we only drive right on areas we've mapped. We're not going to drive in really bad weather, those types of things, right? So there is a domain that we can drive in. For a level 5 vehicle, you no longer have those restrictions or limitations, right? You can drop the vehicle anywhere, right, in any type of weather, and it can drive. And I think that's a big jump, right, between level 4 and 5. But certainly, yeah, that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked, because it doesn't always come up. And I think it's when someone says they're developing a level 5 vehicle, it's a big one. You want to think about that. Any other questions from folks? And Vishnu, if you're interested, if you decide you want to do an internship, just saying we've had our largest intern pool this year. So just keep an eye on our website.
Yeah, no, I'm actually like planning on doing like a research project on autonomous vehicles like coming up in this fall. So I was hoping I could also get some experience on, other sorts of autonomous vehicles if I could try and do something with Aurora.
Oh yeah, and we in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we started working with the robotics network, their local robotics network. And I'm excited. I'd like to do the same thing here. I used to work with the Los Altos School District on a number of STEM projects. Really? So would love to do that again. But yes, and the Bay Area has so many autonomous vehicle companies.
Exactly.
You're like, it's one of the best locations.
It's the hub. It's literally the hub of everything, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Exactly.
So, just talking like an internship or something, like where would be like the process of applying for something like that, or where would I, go out to find something like that?
Yeah, I keep mentioning these websites, but the aurora.tech/careers, that would be the best spot. And so I take a look at the internships there. I'm not sure when they start recruiting for summer, but you probably want to start looking in the spring for a summer internship. And then I think this is advice I give myself. As much networking as you can do in advance, right? And all those like informational interviews where you're not asking anything, you just want to learn more about the role, the technology.
Exactly.
I would do those ahead of time. That way, when something, when there's an internship in something very specific like perception or mapping, or that you understand what that is and if that's what you're interested in.
Exactly. All right. Well,
and I will also plug that you don't need to be just an engineer. We have plenty of internships that are non-engineering. So just we'll plug that piece too.
Like what sort of internships would be like sort of like non-engineering internships?
So, and I don't have the list in front of me, but just imagine like on our team, on the team I'm on, we have a government relations intern, right, who helps with some of our policy work. I'm sure that the business teams have folks, focused on strategy or finance or accounting or things of that sort. Again, I don't have the list in front of me, but the internship roles are not just within the product and eng teams.
I see. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Any questions from other folks on the line?
I'm curious to know, Sydney, I'm curious to know what is being done in the Mountain View office versus the other offices that you have in Pittsburgh and other places.
What is the difference with the Mountain View one?
what kind of work gets done in these?
Oh,
offices?
yes, that's a great question. So that space, actually a lot gets done in that space. So it isn't necessarily like, for example, we might have offices that are more focused on LiDAR, but our Mountain View office does a bit of everything. So there's the office space. We have our labs, right? We can do all sorts of testing of the technology, you know, thinking about, you know, hardware, right? Like shocking it and making sure it's going to last, you know, all sorts of weather and time. So we can do that in the labs in Mountain View. We have R&D, and we have the garages. So we actually can bring up trucks there. So it does a bit of everything, honestly. I will say I've been to the office many times, and we are using every square inch of that space. So making sure it goes to good use.
Good to know.
And Kathy, I saw you were going to ask a question.
Let's say hi. It's nice to see you.
Very nice to see you. Any other questions from folks?
I had another one. Or you can go. I think Stephen, you had a question.
Yeah, do you have any insights on how you would communicate with the
In the
local
kitchen drawer.
infrastructure of the city, basically in sharing traffic telemetry data?
Got it. And you're asking about like with vehicles communicating with infrastructure and elsewhere and to the city? Was that the question?
And other vehicles as well.
Another, yeah, V to V and V to X. So, you know, I'm not aware of any particulars on that for Aurora. I will say we do get that question around more so. What do the vehicles need, right, to drive on our current roadways? And the answer to that is we drive on them today as they are, right? We're not asking the public or, you know, our government or our cities to change the infrastructure in any way while we're testing, right? We're not asking them to do that for us. So we test as is on the roadways. And in terms of the technology, you know, V to V, V to X, V to I, all of that, I think we'll see where that goes, right? And I'm certain that this technology will be able to adapt to whatever may come along.
Yeah, so specifically I was looking at linkages. So tailing right behind your vehicle and just using your infrastructure.
Like platooning, that
Yep.
kind of work. Yeah, you know, I don't know specifics on whether, you know, when that may roll out, but that is certainly one of the benefits, right, of autonomous vehicles, whether it's trucks or passenger cars, that there is that ability to platoon. And I think when you have that at large scale, you start to see benefits in terms of congestion, efficiencies, and all of that. So certainly, I think that's something to be on the lookout in the future.
I had another question. I remember earlier in your presentation, you talked about like your new LiDAR sensors that you would like come out with. And I was like looking at it and it looked like sort of like a VR headset and didn't really like have one of the spinny things. So I was like wondering how that really worked.
So I don't know I'm not a technical expert, so I can't speak to all the specifics on that, but I do like how you've described it as a VR headset because I thought the same thing when I saw it. It's like, it is like a VR headset. But again, you know, I keep plugging this, but only because it's just a great presentation. Our founders talked about this when we announced we were going public, that we released all sorts of information, including a technical presentation, right? The type that you provide to investors. So I'd recommend looking there to see more details.
Okay.
But because it's fascinating, like First Light LiDAR, I find, yes, I can go down a rabbit hole learning about that. So I hear you, and yeah. And one day I hope to be able to bring folks in to actually see the vehicle so that you can ask these questions to our eng leads who can explain to you, yeah, this is what that does. And this is
Yeah, no, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And Yoko, did you have a question?
Yes. First of all, nice to meet you guys in there. And then my question is, I'm sorry, it's sort of my next career type of questions. And then this, yeah, autonomous industry is very interesting because information technology is a major driver. And then I have been there, and I'm trying to see if I can expand my career in there. So, what kind of a background would you like to see people to work for you guys if those people don't have a autonomous or automobile type of industry experience? So that's number one question. The little question number two is, do you have any partnership with a major automobile player like US one or Japanese one, Toyota, Honda, or those companies?
Yeah, so let me start with the last one, the partnerships one. So we have a partnership with Toyota to put our technology on their passenger car. So you should start to see that with in particular the hybrid Sienna. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm sure I'm missing some of the other partnerships. I think Denso, Packard, Volvo, I'm sure there are others. But yes, I think that is actually, we're very proud of the partnerships we've created as we roll out this technology. And then on your question about career and the skills for various roles, I'm not on the people op team, but I can say just from my own experience, I don't have a background necessarily in autonomous vehicles, right? I think I said this in the panel. I didn't know it even exists. I didn't know it existed when I graduated, that might be a career path. And I think if myself then knew, I'd just laugh and be like, no, you're not in autonomous vehicles. That's crazy. So I think it's more, I would look at just the range of jobs. We look for diverse experiences, culture fit. Those are just two of the things. And our VP, we recently hired a VP of talent acquisition and a VP of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they're really thinking about how do we expand the pool of candidates, of hires, and then provide mentoring throughout. So I would say, I think there's something for everybody. So definitely check out the website.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions from folks?
Sydney, I'm sorry, I haven't checked out your website yet. Did you say you guys are, obviously the focus is autonomous vehicles. Are you also looking at electrifying vehicles like semi-trucks, like Tesla's doing?
So we don't manufacture vehicles, so we just put the technology on the vehicle itself. But certainly, as those types of, vehicles roll out, there's no reason why the technology, couldn't be placed on it. And so, for example, we currently drive on the Pacifica and soon on the Toyota Sienna. Both of those are hybrid vehicles. So I'd say, we be on the lookout. Our partners are Volvo Trucks and Packard. So I'm sure they're thinking about this as well.
Hi, I'm Maria Escarti. I work for the, thank you, Sydney. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
I work for the Innovation Office of Catalonia here in Silicon Valley. We are a government organization. We're based in Barcelona, but we have a small office here. Not working from home like everybody else.
Right.
But we are organizing an event in October. It's called the Future of Mobility, with probably a group of 20 companies from Barcelona, including universities and technology centers. And it would be great to have you guys on our panel. The question is, do you usually participate in these kind of panels? Are you interested? And of course, I can send you more info. This I know this is not the place, to only.
No, thank you.
Just wondering if you are open to participate in these kind of events, and we'd be happy to send you more info, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can either connect with me on LinkedIn, and this goes for everyone, please connect with me on LinkedIn. And then either send me the information there, and then I usually just share with our press team to understand if there's someone who's a good fit for different events. Maybe someone who's, I'm sure we've got folks from Barcelona on the team. So anyways, but yes, please send me that information. That'd be wonderful to learn more.
Yes, and that's great. I will also put here my LinkedIn profile, so if anyone would happy to connect with anyone here on this call. And just another question: are you actually thinking of expanding maybe also to Europe or Barcelona? That would be great. But do you have plans of expanding or?
Right now our focus is really on a domestic trucking product here in the US. Not to say things can change quickly, right? But that's really what we've announced. But certainly, would be exciting to do something internationally. When that day comes, I have no doubt there'll be something on our blog and an announcement. But for now, it's domestic trucking.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
I'll ask again since nobody else is. Are you also looking at maybe doing kind of long haul, and you would maybe stop the truck prior to getting into a city? Like, you drive from maybe, I don't know, somewhere outside of San Francisco, way outside the Bay, to whatever, Kansas City, and where it's not that big of a deal, you can just drive straight through, right? If it's automated. And then maybe have like a little transfer station or something or like a distribution warehouse, because obviously city driving is a lot more complex than long haul just on the interstate. Are you going to introduce it that way?
So I think, yes, I think you're reading the Aurora playbook that we announced. So very much so. We are going to focus on long haul trucking, and that's where we've actually started testing in Texas. So I mentioned we've moved some. If anyone here has had Takis, it's a great snack. But anyways, we've started moving those kind of as a test. So yes, very much. It'll first be trucking, then thinking about passenger cars, and then delivery and logistics. But yes, you're spot on. And I will put my LinkedIn as well. So if folks want to connect, let me just get my link. But feel free to, I'm always happy to chat. Going forward, I hope to be doing more things in person so that you can actually see the vehicles, because there's not an amount of me explaining, like it just doesn't do justice. So in the future, definitely aim to have some Aurora vehicles out there for everyone to take a look at. But yeah, unless there's any remaining questions, I think, one more, go for it.
Sydney, if you guys are doing anything in person, you know who to hit up. I'll be definitely very interested in, being there, being out there. But yeah.
Yes, and please connect, because as on the community engagement side of things, I am looking to do more STEM engagement. That's what we did during the pandemic. We kind of pivoted to remote distance learning and STEM, and worked with a few organizations to do like science kits at home and all of that. So I would like to do much more of that. So absolutely, I'll keep you in mind.
I'll be connecting with you on LinkedIn now. But yeah, thank you so much, Sydney.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining, and thanks for joining the panel, and appreciate your time learning about what I know is a new technology.
Thank you, Sydney.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.